Hi everybody, this is G. I'm a Transport Compliance Manager at Transport Info Limited. And today in this video, I'm going to highlight a problem regarding to ADR and ADR exceptions and ADR training. So let's start. As you probably know, there are so many exceptions in ADR. Today I'm going to talk about two exceptions only. These two exceptions are the most famous and very often used exceptions in ADR. One of the exceptions is limited quantity, which is LQ, and the second one I'm talking about, the 1136, which is the small quantity per unit. The biggest mistake you can make regarding to these exceptions, like LQ or 1136, when you think these exceptions are not regulated in ADR. It's not true. It's a misbelief. So let me show you today what does it mean 1136 and what does it mean indeed LQ or limited quantity, and I show you it's ADR. It's definitely ADR and regulated by ADR. So let me show you this. If we go to the ADR, and this is 1136, okay, this is the exception which dangerous goods carried on a transport unit does not exceed the values indicated in column 3. And if you scroll down, you can see these values. You can see these transport categories, and you can see the points, and this is the so-called 1136 exception. And if you can see this subsection here, it says they may be carried in packages in one transport unit without application of the following provisions. So that means you have a list here about the provisions, regulations you don't have to apply. That means the rest of the regulations you have to apply. So there are tons of regulations you have to watch, you have to know. So it means you have to know the ADR, and you have to know exactly which parts of the ADR applies. Now the second one, as I said before, LQ, which is the limited quantity. You can see the placard of the limited quantity here. Probably everyone knows a limited quantity. All the driver and in the transport industry, I'm pretty sure everyone knows this. But, and here we come, these chapters. Let me read this. Limited quantities of dangerous goods packed in such limited quantities meeting the provisions of this chapter are not subject to any other provisions of ADR except the relevant provisions of. And you can see a nice list again, with the chapters and sections, subsections, numbers. So there are tons of regulations again you have to apply. And as you probably know, according to these exceptions, the driver, so they don't need a certificate. Because if you go back to limited quantity here, and you can check the list, or you can go to 1136 subsection, and again you can check the list. You will see that according to these regulations, the driver doesn't need any certificate or training. I'm talking about the main driver training, the main driver certificate. So if you scroll down, I'm talking about this certificate. And my question is just coming again. So how are these drivers supposed to know what parts of the ADR apply? Because if you didn't get the training, if you don't have the certificate, how are you supposed to know the ADR? Absolutely no chance. And that's the point. But let me show you one more thing, which is one of the new regulation, and this new regulation was introduced in 2018, and it's just coming with the new regulations with ADR 2019. So if we go to the document part, you can see a note here, and this is a very important and very well hidden note. The note says, in the case of intended application of 1136, the total quantity and the calculated value of dangerous goods for each transport category shall be indicated in the transport document in accordance with 11363 and 11364. That means if you have a small quantity per unit and your driver supposed to collect a container or load or groupage, as I said before, and he wants to use the 1136 exception, he has to indicate on the transport document, as this note says, you have to count the transport, you have to watch the transport categories, and you have to count the points at each transport category, and you have to indicate the wallet in the transport document. So I repeat my question again. How are these drivers are supposed to know how to do this? I mean, how to calculate these points according to the transport categories, according to 1136. Because they don't have the the ADR certificate. They didn't get any training because they don't have the general awareness training. Therefore, they know nothing about ADR and ADR regulations. So here we are now, and my suggestion, we have to think about the ADR 1.3. I will show you what ADR 1.3 says. So according to ADR 1.3, persons employed by the participants referred to in Chapter 1.4, whose duties concern the carriage of dangerous goods, shall be trained in the requirements governing the carriage of such goods appropriate to their responsibilities and duties. And if you scroll down here, general awareness training. Personnel shall be familiar with the general requirements of the provisions for the carriage of dangerous goods. And also we have the function-specific training. So the conclusion is, even if you have limited quantities load, or even if you have 1136 load, which is the small quantities per unit, those exceptions are regulated by ADR. And if you don't have ADR certificate, if you don't have the training, you didn't get any training regarding to ADR, you need something. And that's the point. So you need a general awareness training or a function-specific training or something. I don't know what, because at this moment in Ireland, we don't really have any training provided like general awareness training or function-specific training. Some training provider has general awareness training, but at this moment, it's not a mandatory training. In my humble opinion, we should provide this training together with CPC. But of course, I'm not a decision maker. The only thing I can do for these people, I'm going to set up a video series about these exceptions, like LQ limited quantity or 1136. This is the small unit. As I said before, this is the small quantities per unit. So in the next videos, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to teach your driver or your staff how to calculate the points one by one, each transport category. What do you need to write on documents what to do with limited quantities, and finally you will get a brief overview about these exceptions. All you need to do now, just subscribe, and let's share this video, let's share the information, let your friends or workmates know we have a hand here, and I try to do my best. I try to teach you so we can avoid any infringements, any useless and absolutely unnecessary fines. So guys, see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.